You're going to see a slide there that I'm hoping you recognize. That's DEI. That's where you walk in, and Hannah's going to show you with that cursor up over the hill to go to the shore. That shore is waiting for us. It doesn't quite look as pretty green as that because this is a summer picture. There's the shore where we would work. Residence Hall up on the hill where we walk up to the pond trail. If you guys peek careful, you can see the pond over in the woods.
Oh yeah.
See it? And there's where Hannah lives, in the guest house where you used to go for your lessons.
I remember.
Yeah, remember?
I remember the candles on the wall.
The shop's on top of the hill, and you can see just a little bit of the pier.
So here are your DEI teachers. I'm on the left, helping students with some water collection and study on a beach. In the middle is Hannah, and on the right is Mrs. Haskell, showing some students on the beach how to age an Haskell film.
There's the doorway you come in.
The chairs.
There's all the chairs. Look how polished up they are. They're all, and they're even, they're quite even. And there's the big conference room, if we get a chance to go into that. And there's the pound.
And here, I'm sure you remember our touch tank.
Our touch tank is full of creatures that DEI staff and our local fishermen have found in the ocean and brought in for us to see. We would love for you to meet them. So now we're going to get ready to play the bingo game. And like Mrs. Alley said, and I've mentioned, don't take your markers off if someone else calls out bingo, because due to our time, we're going to keep right on going and hoping everybody gets a chance to do a bingo.
The first creature to mark on your card is the Atlantic cod. Anyone have it?
Yeah, I have it.
Good. There's lots and lots of information in this PowerPoint that Mr. Crawford and you folks may want to look at later, but for today, we're just going to talk about one thing about each of the creatures. So on this one, I want you to notice what's called the barbel. It's like a kind of like a little whisker hanging down under his chin, and that has taste buds on it, so it helps him find his food.
Can you guys see when I move my mouse?
Yes, we can.
All right, awesome. I'm gonna try to point to some of the things that Colleen and Lynn say when they're talking about, so you can try to see them in the pictures.
I think they might recognize this guy, Mark Ocean Pout on your card. And he's Big Mouth, Mr. Pout Pout Fish. When you look at the Pout Pout Fish, we had a couple of things for you to look at. His great big mouth with 2 rows of teeth, his long eel-like body with his dorsal fin on the top goes the whole way. You got him marked down?
Next is the Atlantic pollock.
I have that too. I have it.
Okay, so if you have it, mark it.
Notice the Atlantic pollock has 3 dorsal fins on his back.
And then there's 2 on the bottom.
That's right. Those are pelvic fins.
Our next one to mark, you haven't seen in our touch tank, and you may not get to see him because he only had a short time to visit. Wry mouth eel. He's all covered in mud in this picture, and he's shaped kind of like the pout pout fish, but he's a little bit fatter in his body. If you look at him, he lives in the mud and builds a burrow in that mud that he hides in. Here is a picture that you've really got to study. This Atlantic codfish ate our wrymouth eel. It took the cod almost 3 days to completely digest the large eel. This is why, if you look closely, the eel's tail is sticking out of the codfish's mouth.
I can see that. So sad.
That's what happened to the wry-mouth eel.
Oh, so that's why you said you only had a short time.
Short time to visit us.
Well, I hope you can find another one.
Me too.
Oh, I know I have that one. I have it. I've had every one that you chose.
Next is the cunner. We do sometimes have these in our tank, but they like to hide. They're hard to find. I guess they don't like to have the picture taken. And notice he's got a long fin on his upper body, as well as on his lower body. He's got kind of a long one there.
The next one was not in our touch tank when you were there. This is the red hake. If you look at the red hake, especially in the,
Two bingos. I didn't remember two bingos. That's kind of freaky. It looks like a dragonfish.
Okay, the red hate.
look at his fin, his pectoral fin, it almost looks like a little ray sticking out there. It's very thin and wispy. And that's kind of something you can see when he flips around. And if you look at at that, it kind of trails out of him, almost like a decoration.
Next is the winter skate. Notice he's kind of shaped like a kite. In math and geometry, that's called a rhombus. He has what we call a rhomboid shape.
The next one is the northern waved whelk. That is a gastropod, which is a snail.
Listen,
Somebody get bingo?
Yep, I got it.
yes, we got 2 bingos.
Yeah, Harm got a bingo. Yeah, I got a bingo. I got a bingo. Bingo. We got.
Okay, so we got, all right, do you want to continue or should they read off what they have?
If you think they're getting a marked, Mr. Crawford, we'll keep it on going, but we've got 3 that have got bingo.
Yeah,
I can read what I.
Yeah,
off what
they
I
can,
have.
we hoping that we're gonna get everyone a bingo.
Atlantic rock.
So now we've got the Atlantic rock crab and Jonah crab.
Bingo. Got my second.
Very good. Very good. Most of you know what a crab looks like. They have what we call a broad, circular or oval kind of carapace. That part we call his body. That's called his carapace.
I think I might have
Yeah,
seen
so
one
that-
of those when I went on my grandpa's boat because me and my brother were looking for crabs, and I think we might have seen one of those because we found really like big crabs, and there was like they're really big and like that.
Molly, really quick.
One time I was on the boat with my dad, and he found like a light like lavender purple crab.
That's
Right.
probably a Jonah. They have that pretty purple.
So me, Harmony, Michael, Christian, and Austin were looking at seaweed, and then I went in the ocean, and then a crab was following me, and I looked behind me, and the crab was almost gonna pinch my foot, so I ran, and Christian was like, "What is it? What is it?" I said, "There's a crab," and he wanted to catch it, but I ran away.
What
Oh.
kind do you think it was?
I don't know. It was just,
How big was it?
it was huge.
I got a bingo.
Good. This is the green sea urchin, and everybody likes to see the sea urchin. They're known and famous for their roe, which is kind of a part of them that helps them, that is the reproductive part of them. And it's very much famous in the world as a delicacy, and when it's pretty orange color. It eats kelp and algae.
They used to have a lot of urchin divers around here. Does that kind, do they still do that, or is that kind of dive?
They,
Not as
they
many.
actually harvested all the urchins.
Okay,
Yeah, that was one of those boom and bust
right, gotcha.
situations. This is the eastern oyster. This is just his shell. We don't have the whole animal in our touch tank. We have just the shell. It's a bivalve, meaning it has a two-part shell, like a clam or a mussel or a scallop. Here are some tiny oysters that we've just more recently started growing at DEI. They're a little bit trickier to grow. I'm not sure if the scientists and the hatchery workers have quite figured that out yet. Last I knew, they could get them to a certain size, and then they didn't survive as well, but we're working on that.
Actually, in the hatchery today, they're going to be trying to spawn some of their oysters. So hopefully I can go in and get some video of them doing that we could share with you guys.
Excellent.
The next one to cover is the hard shell clam or the northern quahog. We often call it the quahog.
I have my second bingo. Me too.
Wow, we got a ton of bingos now.
My fourth bingo. My fourth
All
bingo.
right, bingo time.
I have
All right.
two.
Yeah,
That quahog is a bivalve, and when they're small, away from Maine, and sometimes now even in Maine, a smaller quahog is called a little neck.
I'm guessing you know what this is.
Bingo. My fifth bingo. My fifth bingo. My fifth bingo.
American lobster.
Three bingos. I got five. I got four.
You can see in the picture on the right that the lobster, which is actually related to a crab, has a two-part body or carapace. We call it the head and the tail. Like if you're going to eat one, we break the head apart from the tail. The fancy science words are the thorax and the abdomen. And here is a picture of our blue American lobster, which was your free space. He doesn't look quite as bright blue in the tank as he might if you found him in a lobster trap. Their color kind of fades when they stay in our touch tank for a long time.
This is our Atlantic sea
Bingo.
Another bivalve.
Hi.
Remember, the sea scallop snaps his shell together and moves. And when he snaps that shell together, we sometimes hear it.
I remember water. Yeah, sprayed water at us. Yeah, we used to use
Yeah.
water at each other.
He squirted at us.
Northern sea star. You probably call this a star catch. Everybody's card should be full at this point.
That's what we want them to check.
oh,
So now everybody's got to listen up just a minute. You all are familiar with your card. You covered them up and you got your bingos. So now
Mine out.
we're playing the real deal. This is the real game. That was practice. You got
Right.
used to your creatures, clear your markers off, and get ready. This is what we're going to do. We're going to give you a clue, and Mr. Crawford will allow one student, we'll let him pick because we can't see everybody. And if somebody thinks they know what that creature is, do not say it out loud. Let Mr. Crawford ask you. He will let you answer, so won't hear everybody talk all at once. Okay, so here's your clue. Don't say it out loud. This creature has a pelvic fin, which is a long, wispy thing coming out from underneath it.
okay, Macy's gonna come up and tell you, and then you can tell her whether or not she's right.
Okay,
Go ahead, Macy.
A red hake.
Very good.
Perfect. Good, Macy.
Oh yeah, we can use our free space.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
The next clue, this marine creature has a rhomboid or kite shape.
I think it's
okay, go ahead, Nancy. Spell it. Nancy,
Atlantic
she's not
sea
sure how to-
scallop?
No. Can somebody help Nancy? Which one was shaped like a kite?
I know.
Had a
It
rhombus.
even had a little tail on it in a way.
Yes, it did.
Skate.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Somebody
a
said it.
skate. Somebody said it. Winter skate.
Good
All
job.
right, winter skate.
Good
You
job,
got one.
Nancy.
Good job.
This one has a strong, strong shell, and it is a gastropod, which is a marine snail.
Is it?
Wrymouth eel.
No,
No,
waved whelk. Northern waved whelk.
the waved,
Okay.
the waved well.
It's in my mind.
And we sometimes keep saying conkle, and that's where you're not used to seeing that one. A conkle's a snail too.
Waved well.
Oh,
Are we ready?
actually, my dad eats
All right.
conkles.
That's right.
Mm.
People do eat them. Okay, the next clue, this marine creature has a broad, circular, or oval carapace or body.
The Atlantic rock crab.
That is right.
Good.
Good job.
This one has orange roe. That's a delicacy. And we like to eat it when that roe is orange. And if that doesn't get you what you need, it eats kelp and algae.
Correct.
And it's
Nancy,
spiky.
Oh, I know it. I think we go first.
Look, you guys, let me figure it out. It's her first. Okay, next, Pete.
Start to do.
Go.
Green sea urchin.
Yep.
Perfect.
The next one is one of our marine creatures, like clams, mussels, and scallops, only different. It's a bivalve and it has kind of a rough shell. We showed you just its shell.
The eastern oyster shell.
Very good.
This one is another bivalve, and when it's small, it's sometimes called little neck.
Little neck.
Okay, Jason, come on up.
Hard shell.
I think he's saying it, the northern quahog or
No.
Hard
hard
shell. The hard shell clam.
shell clam.
Next marine creature has a two-part carapace, a thorax and abdomen that you probably call a head and a tail.
American lobster.
Very good, American lobster.
I think I heard someone say bingo.
Got a whole bunch of them that have already said bingo.
Good, good.
Bingo. Bingo.
Couple more and then we'll let you have your prizes.
Bingo, I win all the prizes.
Did you guys mark your free space?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What was on your free space?
The blue lobster.
Okay, all right, one more. This one is a bivalve that its muscle snaps its shell together and it moves around the touch tank. And you've squirted each other with it before. Atlantic sea
bring it up.
olive.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was easy.